Hey YouTube land, this is Dennis, and this is Gemology 101 course of courses I'm going to be starting on gemology. Today I'm going to be teaching you the basics of what you need to get to start gemology and to collect beautiful stones that you can have as your own collection, or you can resell them if you want. And to start off with is you need to get yourself a basic kit like this, which has quite a few different tools that you'll need to do your gemology as you go along. In this here we have a loop right here, which is a 10 times loop, which is what you should normally have to look at. You also have a small caliper here to measure the stones for how big they are. You have a small tiny grip here for gripping the stones. It opens up and spreads out the little teeth. We also have two different types of tweezers here. One is a straight tweezer, the other one is a curved tweezer. The other thing we have here is this little white strip here. It has notches in it where you can put stones in them and have them so that they're standing up on end instead of flopping around all around. They've got grooves in them so they can stay straight. And this here is a chart that gives you the millimeter sizes and what they are in carats. So this is helpful for you to start learning about the sizes of the stones, how much carats they are, and different tools that you can use to start your learning your stones and measuring them and keeping them. Like what I do is I do a spreadsheet of the stones that I get, and I put them on a spreadsheet. I also have here a bunch of extra tweezers that I get. You never have enough. Again, it's another curved tweezer. This is another straight tweezer. This is a black one. The end of this is just a little bit wider than what some of these are. What I like about these type of tweezers is these are locking tweezers. These right here have a slide right here that you move and it unlocks it and allows you to open up the tweezer so you can grab the stones. And once you grab the stone and you got it tight, what you do is slide the lock and it locks it in place and holds the stone. So these are very good to get. They're not very expensive. Most of these tools you can get this tool pack I think for about $20 without the extras that I've got in it. I also got myself a extra big grabber with the little things that come out that you can grab the stone and bring it in and put it in place. So I put all that together in this leather case here, and that way I have this handy for when I go out places and I look at stones. So that's one of the first things you want to get. Next up is a light. You want to get a good light. This one here I like. It's what they have is it's a 3-color light, and basically it's a regular big open light like so. Gives you a big open wide light, or you have this small piece that you put on here and you punch it in and it gives you a small narrow, so you can use this to shine on your stones when you're looking at them and checking them out. The other nice thing about this light is it has 3 different settings. There's a medium setting right there, and the next one is, I can show you in my hand, as you can see, it's a ultraviolet. This one, the ultraviolet's nice, but it's not as sharp as I liked it to have, but I still use it sometimes. But it's worth getting one of these lights. This is you can plug it into USB to charge it, and it works for a long period of time. and it's very helpful with you looking at stones and checking stones out. So the next thing you want to get is a good light. A good light always helps with looking at your stones. The next things up that I can show you is different types of black lights that you're going to want to get. This one here is a different type of black light. You have what is called a higher beam and a lower beam. It's the frequency that the black light is at. As you can see, this one's got a brighter, sharper color than the other one. So that's good to get. This one here is, again, this is a more of the narrow. As you can see the color, it's more of a blue instead of a blue purple. This is the lighter wavelength of black light. But you want these because there are a lot of stones that actually will glow in black light. And you want to make sure that when you're testing them, that they show the black light on them. Some of the other tools you want to get besides your loop is you can get yourself a microscope. What I suggest is at first, if you want, you can get one of those cheap digital microscopes and use those for a while, and then eventually get yourself one of those $200 to $300 microscopes, which can get you in a lot better. They can show you the imperfections better, but that's very pricey. That's something you may want to wait for down the road while you're doing this. Just to check out what you've got. A couple other tools I suggest you should get is this is a diffeiroscope, which what this does is you take the scope out, and what it does is it allows you to see stones, and when you turn it, you can see if the stone changes color. By putting this into your eyes like so, and you have light on the stone, you turn it and you see if the stone changes color, because that's one of the things you want to look at. Some stones change color, some stones don't, but this tells you that the real stones, most of the real stones actually do change color. With this, it's black and white in color, but it'll help you out in determining the type of stone that you have, whether it's a single refractive or a double refractive stone. So it's a good tool to have handy. The next tool I would suggest you get is what we call the spectroscope. What the spectroscope does is when you have your stone down on one of the trays that I showed you a little bit ago, what you do is you shine the light into the stone and you use this to look at the stone, and what happens is you'll see little black lines, or in this case with this particular one, you'll see kind of like fuzzy black areas, which tell you what's being blocked from coming at you when you're looking at the stone, because the stones are made of different types of minerals. So depending on the mineral, depends on where in the scale that you're looking that you have, which is a colored scale of what type of stone it might be. Because you may have aluminum in it, you may have copper in it, you may have brass in it, and this will show you whether you've got those or not and where they're at. And it has a colored scale in it, and it goes from a violet color all the way to a red color. And so that shows you, depending on where those marks are, of what type of metals are within that stone. So it's another good piece to have to prove that you truly have a real stone. A couple other things I suggest you get down the road is these are what we call different eye loops that are specially made for looking at stones, such as this one, which is a Chelsea filter. And what these filters do is, again, when you're looking at stones, you can use the filter, and when you light it up, it will change color at the stone that you're looking at. And depending on what color it shows, tells you whether it's real or not. It'll tell you, because if you have stuff like glass or crystal, it won't change. It will stay the same. As with stones, it will change. So that's another way to show that you've got a real stone, to prove that you actually do. And it's a nice, easy piece of equipment to use for looking at stones. And in this one here, this is a ruby scope. What this does is allows you to look at rubies. Now the odd thing is rubies are like some of the other stones that are out there. A sapphire and a ruby and an emerald are all kind of as part of the same family. What this does is, again, this shows you when you're looking at a ruby, it'll actually show it as being red. And that's the color you're looking for because of the chromium that's in them. They all have chromium. So if they show up being red in color, that means they're real stones because they have chromium in it. If they're glass or any other type of material, they won't do that. So it's another way that you can tell that you've got a real stone and not a fake stone that you bought from somebody. And it's very simple to use. The next thing you should get is some scales. I've got this one here and I've got this one here. The difference is that this one here, when you turn it on, the measurements goes out 3 digits. So it's a little bit tighter, and when you're looking at smaller stones, it's easier to see smaller stones because of the amount of digits that it has. So that's why I have this type. When you start working with bigger stones, a lot of times, and you're not worried about having little stones, I go to this one here, which this one has the double, which gives it also a more accurate reading on the bigger stones. So you can tell how many carats they are. There's also another setting that you can use in this later on, which I'll show you, which is using grams, doing a special test. But for now, you can use these for weighing out your stones and seeing how many grams or how many carats they are. So it's good to get different yeah, lose my mind sometimes. Sorry about that. It's good to get different types of scales. They're very helpful in weighing what you've got and making sure that, again, what you bought is exactly what you're getting. Okay. There's also some of these scopes that you can get, which are like this one here I've got, which is a double scope. One is a 10 and one is a 30, and it has a light switch on it where you can have just a regular light, you can have the medium light for that one, regular light for that one, and you also have, if I can get it, Looks like this one doesn't have, I don't think this one has it. No, this one doesn't. I have a couple that have ultraviolet, but this one has lights where if you go one way, it's easier for the 30. You go the other way, it's easier to see for the 10. So you can use scopes like this, or actually loops like this, which are very helpful. And if you can get loops with the 3 different colors also, besides just the one. This particular one here I've just pulled out. This has got the 1 color. I also have one that has the 2 colors, and I have one that has 3 colors, which is also helpful when you're looking at stuff, that you don't have to keep changing lights, because these already have the lights built in while you're looking at the stone and figuring out what it is. So we're going to put that back into there like that. Now, when you start getting into learning some of this equipment and you get used to using it, you might want to update your equipment. And one of the things I suggest you get is a good nice cloth like this here, because you want to keep your stones nice and good and clean. You don't want fingerprints on them, you don't want dirt on them, so when you're checking them out, you take and you rub your stones, clean your stones real good, so that they can be cleaned off for doing testing. So you can get a lot of these different cloths from many different places. You can order them on eBay. This one happens to be the one I use with my glasses, but I use this at times to clean stones off. So that's something else that you're going to need and want, because that's going to be important. When you start getting better at looking at your stones with your spectroscope, you can actually go to a different type of spectroscope, which is a prism spectroscope, which is what these are. We've got this one here, and then I've got also a single which is one like this. And what's nice about these is that they're adjustable. They slide in and out so you can focus better. Okay, and you can also turn the end so you can do bright or dark on how you're looking at it, and it gives you a better reading. It gives you more of a straighter line and a more defined line than the other spectroscope does. And you can use this to adjust it so that you can see it clearly, and to make it in focus so that you can see it very good. Now this is a straight scope, and this is a double refractive 5. What this has is this has 5 prisms in it, and also again it does the same thing. It has the slides, so the tubes slide, and this tube slides, and you also have adjustments on them so that you can adjust color and lighting. And what this one does is it also has an adjustment for a scale, because this has a scale in it. So when you're looking at the stone and you're looking at the bars that you're looking for, you have the scale to know exactly where they're at, so you know exactly whether you're looking at aluminum or copper or chromium or whatever material that it may be made from. But these are a lot more expensive. That's why I suggest using the other ones first until you get used to using them. Then you can move yourself to these more precise pieces of tools. Alright, the next thing you want to do is once you get your equipment and everything, what I would suggest is buy yourself some stones in bulk. You can buy them off of eBay and off of Amazon, where you can buy 100 carats, 200 carats, 250 carats, 500 carats of different types of stones, and buy in bulk, and that way you have a lot of stones that you can look at and play with and do your testing on, and know what you've got and know how you're looking at them and see if you're seeing the same thing every time on the stones. The other suggestions I would make besides doing that is I would buy some books, and one of the books is really good, is the Gemstones of the World. It's a very good book. It's got a lot of pictures in it. It's got a lot of good information in it. I read it a lot, and most gemologists will tell you that you should get this book. The Handbook of Gem Identification. This is a book that will help you to understand and read what's going on and learn what you're seeing and doing. And it'll help you to figure out your stones better. Then there's also the Gem Identification Made Easy. It's a nice, beautiful hardbound book. This is the newest one. Again, a lot of good information in it. It'll teach you all the information that you need and want to know about gemology. It gives you fantastic, easy to understand what you're doing. The other thing I would suggest is you get a box that you can put all your different stones in these little capsules here, so you can keep them together, like where you have bulks of different stones like these, which are sapphires. These are smoky topaz. And so after a while, once you get going, you'll kind of understand by just looking at the colors of what the stone is, and you can, like I said, make a list of each one's. What I do is I start from number 1 to number 50, and in each box I keep going up in numbers, so I keep track of what I've got. So this would be like a bulk set that you would get, and you would separate them up and put them in their little trays and make it easy for you. Then you can go through and start looking at each of them, weighing them, and doing all the different tests to them for your simple test. Now this is 101. What we'll do is we'll go through next week on doing some to the test, the simple test, and showing you what it looks like. And then the following is we'll start going more into a little bit of the advanced stuff, which is some extra steps that you can take, provided that you want to go further into this hobby, because it's cheap in some ways, and in other ways it's not, depending on the amount of equipment that you want to buy, the type of stones you want to buy. They can vary from a couple of dollars to a couple $1,000. So it's up to you what you want to spend and learn on the different stones. So what I've got here is one tray, and actually I have 6 trays right now, but this being the first tray, just to show you what the bulk would look like when you get it. Okay, and what I suggest you do is get yourself some gemstones, get yourself a couple of tools. My next class I'm going to show you is, again, how to start using some of the tools that you've got for the 101 basics, and how to look at the stones and find out if they're real or not, and also to find out which ones they are. Be able to figure out what do you have, whether it's a topaz or a almandine, or could be a ruby, sapphire. I mean, most of those we know what they look like, but there's a lot more. And there's a lot of stones that look alike, but they're not the same stone. They have the same colors, the same characteristics, but they're not the same exact stone. There's some stones that are very cheap in certain colors and the way they look, and then there's other stones that look the same way that are very expensive. But for now, this is just the beginning to show you that if you want to keep going on with learning what I'm showing you, I would suggest you go out and get some of the tools. You don't have to get all of them, but I suggest you get the actual kit with the tweezers and the loop and at least the flashlight. That way we can start getting going on how to look at them and see what they look like. Also showing how to measure them and go from there. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you like my channel, please subscribe, ring my bell, and that should be it with this channel. I hope you like what I've given you so far. This is just a simple start, but we'll get more into things as we go along. So that's it for this week on showing you the Gemology Basics 101. And I'd like to thank you very much for showing up and being on my channel. And you have a good week. And this is Dennis saying goodbye.